Hi and welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. Today I'm going to show you another way to cover up a spot on a picture that doesn't require the clone stamp. So sometimes you have something that you want to remove but the clone stamp just isn't working very well for you. So I'm going to open up an example for you, and this is from a student of mine actually who let me use it. So I've been told that this is a black banded wood creeper. By the way, you'll notice this shows up in this camera raw. This is a raw image, so it gives you these extra options here where I can play with the exposure and contrast, etc. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the image. So I have my original image here. You can see the background layer. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control J or Command J, depending on if you're PC or Mac. You can go to Layer, New, Layer via Copy, and that does the exact same thing. What I want to do for this image is erase this pine branches that are over here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom into the picture so I can see a little better. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a new layer. So you can see I just clicked on this little icon down at the bottom of the screen, and you can now see my new layer right here with this little gray and white pixels showing. I'm going to go ahead and hide my background layer because I don't need it. It's just kind of sitting there in case I mess up. And I'm going to start painting into this new layer. What I want to do is paint some color to cover up these branches. You can see how I have this nice bokeh in the background. Bokeh meaning a nice blurred, soft background because this was used with a taken with a telephoto lens. I'm going to take my eyedropper tool right here, click on that, and now I can pick a color from this background. I'm going to start with this kind of dark green right in here, and you can see how this shows up in my color selection over here. I take my paintbrush, make sure you pick a nice soft edged brush, and now I can go ahead and start painting color onto here. So you can see how this has that nice soft look, and it just covered that up by using that other background color. If you want, you can take additional colors. So maybe if you want to do a little bit of a lighter green from here, you can pick that. Once again, pick your paintbrush, kind of color that in. Now I want to cover in these branches here, so I can do the same thing. I can take the paintbrush, or the eyedropper tool, click on that, select the color from right here. Notice, by the way, that even though I'm on this blank layer, it will still select the color from here because you have this sample all layers showing right up at the top. So I'm going to go ahead, once again, make sure I have that green selected, take my paintbrush, and I can color over that area here. Take my eyedropper tool again. I want to have a variety of colors to make it look realistic because this background has a couple different colors mixed together. So again, I can pick another color from the background. Take my same brush again. It's a little too much right there. Pick a little bit of that darker color up. Once again, take the paintbrush, and I can add a little bit of that up into here. I'm almost done. I just want to cover this last little bit. Take the eyedropper tool, which, by the way, if you hover, you can see that the shortcut key for the eyedropper tool is I. So at any time, you can just hit I, and it brings you to the eyedropper tool, just as a time-saving thing. Select that color. If you want to go to the brush, hover over. You can see how B will put me on the brush tool, and I can now put some of this green in here. Take that eyedropper tool again, pick another color, cover this up. If I really like that color, so I'm going to pick again, cover up there. I'm going to take a little bit of this darker green again and bring this down into here. Let's zoom out and see how this is looking. I'm pretty happy with that overall. I might take a little bit of this and move it up here like so. And then one technique that I use is I actually take this layer that has my paint on it, my color. You can see how I can show this and hide it. And I like to blur it. So I can go to Filter, Blur, and then I really like the Gaussian blur. I'm a big fan of that. And that will just blur the painting that I did and just kind of smooth it out so it just blends into the background a little bit better. Just so you know, another thing you can do sometimes is take this opacity. Sometimes that can be helpful depending on what you're covering. Sometimes that can have a nice effect to your picture. So you can see how now the paint here covers up the image. I'm just showing you how you can see that transparency show up. And then I have my branches covered. Go ahead and save your picture. I like to save it as a Photoshop file, and then additionally do a file save as and save it as a JPEG. That way I can go ahead and send that to someone, have it printed, etc. Just because my original image was a raw image, you'll notice it doesn't say copy here, so it's not going to save over the original because it's in a different format. So I'm going to hit cancel so I don't actually save it, but there you go. Another way, an alternative to using the clone stamp.